goodness of the eyes. The eyes are the strongest. What's my contact with people? What's the first contact with people? It's your eyes, right? Strong contact. Shaking hands is a very deep thing, but it's not as deep, it's still outside, Imagine if someone could put their hands and touch my heart, the kishka's inside, You don't have to put your hand inside. If you look at somebody's eyes, you're absolutely in contact with the inside of the inside of the inside of a person. The deepest contact there is. Very, very deep contact. So then somebody looks at you and they really want you to be more. That means, you know what the blessing is? Blessing is more. Let's say if you're $100 and I bless you, it means I bless you to have 200, to have 1,000, infinite. But I don't have to utter those blessings with words. Some people have it in their eyes. They look at you and it feels so good. And some people, God forbid, don't have good eyes. God forbid. So he says, I want you to know that your grandfather, he says, my holy father-in-law, worked all his life on being a tov ayin, to have good eyes. He worked his whole life on it. Can you imagine how much he worked? How much worked on it? And then it says, my other holy grandfather, Holy Alexandra, everybody knows the utmost infinite of loving. Therefore, I'm begging you, children and grandchildren, it says, please work on it. And I wish you and I bless you, you should reach the highest level in that respect. Then let's learn one more sweet thing, then we'll have to change a little bit the subject. He says something very strong. The world is always accustomed to say you got to tell the truth, right? Because if you're lying, it's a bad scene. But he says something deeper than that. The question is not in your relationship to people if you tell the truth. It's very important, right? But it's something deeper than that. If you start lying, you have no relationship with people anymore. Because, imagine if someone asks me, what's today? And I say, today is Wednesday, that means something flowing between us, right? Because the truth is there, right? It really is Wednesday, and you ask me, and I answer you. But imagine if you ask me, but it says, if my relationship to the other person is on the level of lying, then he says, there are some people that says things like super clever, right? They lie to everybody. But what are they, They're like a snake, right? The outcasts. Outcasts. So deep, If you're a liar, it's not that you're lying, you're doing the sin of lying. Okay, it's wrong to lie. Like you have absolutely no contact with people. Heartbreak. He says, I told you before, this pshitas, this simplicity. There's something going on between people. Between people, it can only be simple. Because the relationship to people is very holy, the holiest thing there is. Very holy thing. And this is, if it's not on this holy simplicity, I don't mean stupid simple, I mean on this one piece level, then you just cannot relate to them, they don't relate to you. Then you're an outcast. And he says you're worse than any creature in the world, because the dogala is relating to another dog. One cockroach to another. But you're a human being, you cannot relate to another human being. That's the end of you. And then he says, how can anybody trust you? You tell them something, and if your yes means no, and if your no means yes. But then he says, this is if it's bad. But again, on the level of truth, is if you do tell the truth, he says, you have no idea what happens to you each time you utter the truth. It's not that you just didn't tell a lie. the truth itself. Such a holy thing. He says, do you know just how much you sanctify your thoughts and your heart and your lips when you tell the truth? Even the most simple thing. Someone asks me, is this coffee? I would say, yes, it really is coffee. And I'll think I didn't do anything. I did the greatest thing in the world at this point. Because I really uttered the truth. The truth is the greatest light in the world. But then he says, then there is a deeper level. I don't know if some of you kids remember, I don't want to go into it now, but just to give you a taste. We were learning at one time, for a long time, for a whole year, remember? We were learning about the truth of the truth, and the truth of the truth of the truth. Okay, let's imagine someone asks me, do you really love people? Do you love Israel? Do you love the Holy Land? I can say yes. But there can be thousands of levels, Maybe it's the truth, but it's not the truth of the truth. But it can be the truth of the truth. I really love it. And then it's the truth of the truth, but it's not the truth of the truth of the truth. Because maybe there's even a deeper layer in my heart where it's not so much yet loving. Possible. Because a person, we are so deep, since we are really infinite, we have so deep inside. Let's put it this way, on a very simple level. I'll walk up to somebody and say, I really love you. Okay, it's the truth. But then imagine they step on my toenails and I can explode. That means I do really love them on the level of truth, but not on the level of the truth of the truth. Because if it's the truth of the truth, how can you get angry with them if you love them so much? But then imagine they step on my toenails, I don't get angry. But then imagine they really hurt my feelings, right? And how long it takes me to forgive them. So it was the truth of the truth, but it was not the truth of the truth of the truth. Because if I would love them on the level of the truth of the truth of the truth, it goes so fast. There's thousands of levels. Then he says, I want you to know, he says, there's one merchandise in the world which everybody has to buy. And the name of that merchandise is truth. There's a beautiful saying in Pirkei Avos, Emet Kenei, buy the truth, buy it. You got to buy it all the time. Each time someone asks me something and I answer back the truth, I bought the truth. It's the greatest merchandise in the world. I have a little bit of truth in my heart. Let's say, imagine and this is also very important, a person has to stand on his 2 feet and tell really what you believe in, right? You don't have to knock everybody off for it, But mamish, tell the truth. I'll tell you something, not to take me as an example, but I felt it very strong. Just to give you an example, I could have said no, but then I said, I got an invitation, it was a big, without hurting anyone, but feelings just came to my head right now. It was this big convention in India from all religions. I think I told you, Holy John. And they send out invitations because they feel, religion has to do something for people, stronger, And they invited a few people. A lot of people came. And mamish, first I wanted to go. But then my second reaction was no. Because, all those people there, all religions in the world, they always quote the Bible when they like it, right? But when there's one little passage in the Bible that says that Israel belongs to the Jews, it so happens that this one little passage will just, they overlooked it, And none of them, none of all religions of the world ever speaks up for Israel. They don't, They speak up for God, So I wrote them a very, very strong letter, and I said, I'm sorry to tell you, I love you, you're sweet people, I know you mean well, but you're not God's messengers to the world, because you really don't hear what God is saying to the world. God is saying to the world, Israel belongs to the Jews. Leave my holy children in peace. What do you want, right? And if you're not strong enough because of political reasons, of politics, of dirty politics, you don't want to speak up for Israel, so then don't talk in the name of religion. And it was a very strong letter. And I thought that, I thought Yogala Bajan, the one who organized the whole thing, I thought he'd be angry at me, because I really knocked him off. Nevertheless, Holy Yogala Bajan, after he got the letter, he told someone to call me up and to let me know that he got the letter. So, not so simple. And to tell you the saddest truth, or the happiest truth, a lot of kids came back from this convention and they told me this was nothing, right? I mean, I know in my heart, God will not make himself manifest. People get together in the name of God. I'm sure the name Israel wasn't even talking about it, right? Well, what kind of thing is that? What are they talking about God? Like, they only like God when he's playing according to the show they want to put up. But it was not so much, but I felt like, tell the truth is sometimes you have to stand on your 2 feet and say, this is my truth, You don't have to accept it, But this is the truth, very, very strong. And then he says also something very strong. If God helps you that you are telling the truth, you know what it is? Very, very beautiful. I never thought of it. People who are really on the level of telling the truth cannot say anything bad about another person, even if it's the truth. Don't kid yourself. I will say, listen, I'm so much into the truth that when I see somebody else is doing something bad, I have to tell it. Don't kid yourself. If you're on the level of truth, the words just wouldn't come out of your mouth. How can you say something about another person? How can you? You're not on the level of truth, because truth does not depend if it was so, it wasn't so. Truth is something much, much deeper than that. Truth is the highest revelation of God is the truth, right? Because God is the truth. And if you're really on the level of truth, then you cannot utter anything bad about another person. And he says, and every word you utter is shining and beautiful, and every word just really has chen, chen, a very special Hebrew word, you cannot even translate it. It means it has a certain charm. Chen, Some people say something, and it has chen, Somebody else says the same thing, and es hat nicht kein chen, Ein le de tam, ein le de chen, You don't know what it is, but it's not charming. Because the people who tell the truth have something like that. Okay, let's sing a sweet little song and let it sink in. Then we'll run a few more minutes. L'chaim, l'chaim, chavel, l'chaim, l'chaim sorle, l'chaim yuval, l'chaim chavel, l'chaim kolchem, l'chaim, l'chaim Holy John, Holy Karen, Heilige Rabbi Levitz, l'chaim, l'chaim, everybody, l'chaim, l'chaim.
I want to wish me the time that I have something strong.
Listen, this is the strongest I have. Chaim brother. Chaim chavel. Holy Rabbi. Listen, you know what? I don't think your first. What's your first name? Oh, Tzvi, yeah.